It has snowed and snowed and snowed and snowed and snowed here in Tennessee. We are not used to this much snow that lasts this long. Typically, it will snow once a year, January or February, and it melts within a day or two. This has been here, it feels like forever. I know that's a bit of an exaggeration. I get stir crazy. It's not that I don't like being with my kids. They're not the problem. I honestly would load my kids up and leave if I could. I just hate being trapped in the house. That trait passed on to my oldest son. He's 18, and he too hates being stuck at the house. Now he has a truck. It's not a big truck. It's a smaller truck. It's a little Colorado, and he decided yesterday he wanted to get out, and so he was gonna go to a church next door so he could cut donuts in the parking lot. Now, I have no problem with my kids cutting donuts in parking lots in the snow, and I'll tell you why. First of all, it's teaching them how to control. It's teaching them how to correct on the ice where it's safer, because they're in a parking lot with no other cars, no other people driving. So it's good practice. It's much like you letting your kid drive for the first time in a parking lot to get a feel of how to steer. But I did warn him that his dad, who'd left earlier for work in his bigger Colorado, had said our road was very, very slick because we live on a country road. They do not treat country roads with salt like they do the main roads. And he said, well, it'll be fine. And I told him, I do not think that it is a great idea for you to go out. But he went. And he did fine getting to the church. But on the way back, he slid past the park, past our driveway. And then he decided to turn around. We have a little road past our house, and he decided to turn around there and ended up sliding into a ditch. I could see this from my window, and he was blessed. God sent a truck, a bigger truck, later, not much later, and they were able to pull him out pretty quickly from the ditch, and he was able to get his truck parked safely in the driveway. Now, I said all that to say this, because a lot of times we get an idea in our head. We get a plan already pre-made, and then we tell it to Jesus. And we want Jesus to say, that's a fantastic idea. Yes, you run with that, you go with that. But a lot of times Jesus will say, don't think that's such a good idea. That's not really a part of my plan. That's going to end up in trouble. But you're so excited about it. You just keep on and on and on, and finally God's like, fine, do it. And then you're in a ditch, and you have to wait on God to send somebody to rescue you, or to come rescue you himself. This happens in the Bible as well as in our daily lives, okay? One of the first examples I could think of is Balaam. So Balaam, he wasn't like the best prophet of God, but he was a prophet of God. And these men came to him wanting him to come curse Israel, and that they would pay him to come curse Israel. He prays about it. God says no. Well, these men come back, and they have more riches and more wealth. Like that was going to change God's mind. But it changed Balaam's mind. And Balaam went and talked to God again, and I'm pretty sure God was thinking, no, like, I already told you no. Why are we still having this conversation? Their money's not anything to me. But God was like, just go on. He ends up warning him through his donkey, and he speaks the words that God wants him to, but he forfeits all of the wealth, which was the whole purpose of him wanting to go in the first place, because he didn't do what the guy wanted him to do. The guy wanted him to curse Israel, and God told him no. He had to bless them because they were his people. We do that so often, though. Like, God, I really have this idea. This is what I really want to do. Or sometimes we don't even take the time to ask Him. And then we end up in a mess. And then what do? We holler at. We either try to fix it ourselves to make it worse first and then call out, or we just cry out to Jesus. Now, Jesus has no problem with us calling out, just like I had no problems with my son hollering across the yard that he needed help, and I didn't have any problems with that at all. God doesn't have any problems with us calling out for help. But wouldn't it be so much easier, so much quicker, so much simpler if we obeyed His voice? So today, if you have that plan in your head and you think you know exactly how this should work out, I challenge you to stop, pray about it, and truly listen to the answer. Because God's answer is always greater than our answer. He knows more than we know. He knows the beginning from the end. So listen to His answer, and by all means obey. It just might keep you out of a ditch.